It's interesting you say that because the justice system is always tilted in favor of those people who have massive nepotism. They call up judges, they call up congressmen. So here's Booby effing Kennedy. And I think it's a good thing to understand that John Kennedy was the one who created the 1962 Vaccination Act. He was also a Zionist, which means the promotion of the chosen people concept, Israel as the chosen people, right? And that's a completely racist concept. It's based on nepotism. You're born into some tribe and overnight you get to be the chosen one. It's very much like the caste system in India, which was not the original system of Brahmanism, okay? Right. But this concept of you don't have to work like all of us do, but you're born into some family, some caste, some philosophy, religion, you're overnight the best person in the world. So it's a really great question you're asking. So the Kennedys represented the penultimate nature of nepotism, right? Everything they have. And the Kennedys have this really arrogance. If you meet them, oh, I'm a Kennedy. If they get arrested, you can see, oh, I'm a Kennedy. Don't you know who I am?
It is a crime against humanity to not allow people with the talent, drive, and determination, that star quality, who might be from a lower caste or come from nothing. If they have the skill, the drive, the motivation, they're going to do a better job and they're going to get the job done. So it is a crime against everyone to not allow that system to be open for people to rise from nothing. When we give things to people who already have things, they don't have that same hunger. They didn't work for it like other people have and will.
Yeah, so I think the question you're asking, I think it's a really brilliant question, because so when you think about the Kennedys, it's all about nepotism. The Kennedys support Zionism, which is all about nepotism. What does Zionism say? That these people are the chosen people. Zionism is the ultimate of racism, which serves imperialism, which is this whole nepotic, if you want to put it, a system of the swarm, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we need to declare independence from. We need to shatter this entire basis of nepotism, which is you're born, you get a birth lottery. It's all bullshit. It was never about a birth lottery. Even the ancient Indian spiritual systems, it was about your work. Anyone could become a Brahmin based on your dedication, how much you studied, how much you worked hard. And somewhere along the way, these beautiful philosophies got hijacked and it became about you were born into a family. That's what Zionism is. Zionism took the ancient texts of Judaism and it flipped it. The Khazarians have nothing to do with the non-Khazarian, non-Ashkenazi Jews. They literally took these beautiful teachings and they flipped it. It's literally, in my view, it's devil worship. Zionism is really racism and it's the ultimate of this. So what's really important, Michelle, everyone should understand, Kennedy supported the most rabid form of Zionism. This was about 2 months ago. And now he's all supported for funding the American working people's dollars to go butcher the Palestinians. If you compare Israel and the United States to Palestine, it's not even a fair fight. It's like someone who's been abusing you for 100 years and then you start rising up against them and then you make them wrong.
War is profitable.
War is profitable. So they created this war in the last 72 hours because according to all economic cycles, the economy is contracted, the elites have printed money, and we were headed for a massive crash. So Netanyahu, who's devil incarnate, like Booby fucking Kennedy, who's also being under massive corruption and fraud charges, a lot of people don't know, in Israel. There was a protest of nearly 100,000 people against him.
Wow.
And the reason people were protesting was he's quote unquote prime minister of Israel, but he was actually changing the whole judiciary so he wouldn't be indicted. So he went into the most sensitive, one of the third most holiest shrines in Israel, sent in these crazy Zionist fanatics, and that was on October 5th, to incite the Palestinians and Muslims. He did this because he needed a war, and it served him multiple purposes. A, so he wouldn't be indicted. He could unite all the different factions within Israel who were hating him. So now they're all like, let's go butcher the Palestinians. And on top of that, it gives an excuse for the US imperialists, the swarm, to now distract attention to a war and to print more money to save this economy, which is running on fumes. And Booby fucking Kennedy, who claims he's for independence, stole, again, to everyone listening, he stole our slogan, declare your independence, right? And stole our stuff and is claiming that he's fighting for humanity. So when you ask what is real yoga is fighting. Real yoga is not sitting under a fucking tree and saying Om Namah Shivaya all day. Real yoga is not being some vegan vegetarian, right? Eating so properly and calling everyone else Shudras because they eat meat. In fact, in the ancient times, Brahmins actually ate meat, okay? It's a fact.
Ayurveda suggests eating meat for multiple dosha types. So
exactly.
It's more of a spiritual offshoot that is not really based in the truth.
It's the same as Zionism. It's fascinating. The modern form of Hinduism and the Brahmins who run that, everyone listen very carefully, that set of people and the modern set of people who have hijacked Judaism under the aegis of Zionism, I would argue they're probably the same people because that's the same vibe I get. Very manipulative people, and they have nothing to do with spirituality. The Zionists actually hate Christ. People talk to them. They are very much into materialism. Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism. In fact, in Israel itself, Michelle, the non-Ashkenazi Ashkenazi Jews are treated equally as bad as the Palestinians. So we have to recognize Zionism, everyone should write this down, as racism in the service of imperialism, nepotism, the swarm, materialism, etc., expansion of power, profit, control. And Booby fucking Kennedy comes from a family of Zionists. He's a fucking Zionist. And America has a very important opportunity, because we are going to head into serious darkness and massive war, because the Zionists are devils. Booby fucking Kennedy is a devil. And him running for independence right now is all about the counterfeit campaign against our movement, which truly comes bottoms up, which is truly based on a connection to God, which is truly based on enlightenment of the individual and raising people's consciousness. And that's what we're doing. We're teaching people that truth, freedom, health are natural phenomenon that exist in nature. That's what truth, freedom, health are. Transport, conversion, storage. This is very deep. He's teaching people nonsense, trying to suck people away from this path to enlightenment. And he wants to divert people right back to the devil. I would say Booby fucking Kennedy's the most dangerous person, and he serves the devil. He's Satan. I think what people need to reflect on, Michelle, is to understand what was the origin of the Declaration of Independence, right? The Declaration of the Independence clearly says that you as an individual have the right to abolish or alter your government if it becomes destructive, okay? It's a very powerful statement, and that's why the First and Second Amendment were created. Unequivocal, right? Yeah. It's unequivocal about this. That's quite an extraordinary document, giving the right of people to destroy their government if it becomes unproductive, right? And it's stated right there. I think the core thing you wanted me to speak about was what? On the connection between that? Or if you can just repeat that last part.
How do we heal? How do we heal those wounds between citizens of other countries that look at Americans as being the problem, when Americans realize the problems and have had a challenge changing it because they haven't felt like they have the power because of the corruption in the system?
Right. So I think we need to go to what occurred. What occurred was the first question you asked with this nepotism concept, right? The idea was that you would, through your works and through merit, you would rise up, right? Our movement, truthfreedomhealth.com, we let things occur and we have leaders emerge from below. It's based on your work. That's what it was supposed to be. So the framework of America was created based on your work, right? Based on your hard work. And what occurred was the Zionist concept took over all of America, which was, it didn't matter your work anymore. It mattered that you were born into a particular family, okay? You were born into a particular race. You were the chosen people. A very powerful concept.
It is. And it seems to be happening globally in a lot of countries.
Yeah. So the concept of the chosen people was a foundation of the Indian caste system, which was subverted, okay? The original concept of different people doing different vocations, Michelle, came from this concept of merit. If you were a very good carpenter, you became a carpenter, right? Or if you were a very good statesman, you became the advisor to the king. It was all bottoms up, right? So they had the concept of Brahmin, which were the people who studied, did yoga. The people were the Kshatriyas, were the fighters, right? The warriors, kings, and etc. But all of these things came from your works from below. And it wasn't about a racist model. You were chosen. That just because you were born into some family. You were born as a Kennedy. You overnight get to run for any office. All your sins are absolved. And that was a fall of America. And that concept of the chosen one, the concept of Zionism, the concept of caste, absolutely racist in a very deeply fundamental way. What we just talked about earlier, it's anti-human. It says that this person, just because where they're born, is connected to God and you're not. It's the antithesis of being a co-creator with God.
Do you think it's ego, the nature of ego, that causes this? Because so many people fall into wanting to identify with different things, to feel part of some sort of tribe because they're feeling they're a one-man island.
I think it's a spiritual journey, Michelle. It's because there are many of the 7 deadly sins, for example, right? At every point in life, a human being has the opportunity to make choices. Do they choose a path to God or do they choose a path to the devil? And when I'm talking about this in a very simple way, it's, do you want to work hard? Do you want to earn your keep? Do you want to be lazy, right? Do you want to be an active human being and be a co-creator with God? That, to me, is becoming a divine human being. You innovate, you create, etc. And that co-creation capability is within every human being, but also is a capability with every human being not to embrace that. So when you say, yeah, Dr. Shiva, everything you're saying is true, but you're running as an independent and you don't have the name of somebody, therefore I'm going to choose the lesser of two evils. And that's what's been happening in the United States for the last 70, 80, 100 years, starting with the Kennedys, actually, 1963. What's occurred is we've had a subversion, okay, of this concept of meritocracy coming up. So people, out of their laziness, instead of being active warriors in the political movement, and that occurred during the 1800s and 1900s in the United States, globally, women led many of those movements in Lowell, Massachusetts, right here, okay? Massachusetts, where the women saw how the abuse that was taking place in factories. Women couldn't vote. Afghani women had the right to vote before American women. Everyone listening, remember that. Women in Afghan had the right to vote before women in America. And then we make them seem like they're backward people, right? And it's the United States who supported the Taliban, by the way, right? Women were liberated before that. But anyway, so these movements came up, Michelle, bottoms up movement. movements where people said, I'm going to go door to door. I'm going to build a bottoms up movement, right? I'm going to fight for my rights. And as those movements grew very explosively, they had massive effect. This is why we got infrastructure. This is why we got the 8-hour workday. All these great reforms for average working people came from these very powerful militant movements of the 1900s, led by men and women, working class people, not fucking Kennedys, not fucking Trumps. It's disgusting. Not fucking Vivek the Snake, not the Bidens, people's names we don't even know, who were truly enlightened people. And so that action was what the United States was built on. So between 1900 to 1970, the entire U.S. economy grew, everyone's wages grew. And the elites didn't like this. They wanted a caste system. They wanted Zionism, right? Israel gets formed. And by the way, the Zionists actually wanted Uganda as their homeland. A lot of people don't know this. They wanted parts of Texas as their homeland. And the British imperialists said, oh, we're going to give you this place over here, where a lot of Arab Jews were there, the original Jews. And they shipped these people who were the Ashkenazi Jews over there, who were absolutely racist to all these people, subjugated them. And that is where the fall of America took place, in my view, because they aligned themselves with the devil, which is basically completely antithetical to the American viewpoint, which is you come bottoms up, you fight. So we've talked about the clear vision. We've identified who the fucking enemy is. The enemy is Zionism. The enemy is people like the fucking Kennedys. The enemy is people who never had to work a day in their lives. The enemy is people who actually hate you. Kennedy fucking hates you. Because he hates you is why he steals our material, because he wants to cover the truth.
Yeah.
So
Tucker Carlson was stealing from me a couple weeks ago on one of my accounts. I know exactly what you're talking about because I've experienced it personally myself, and I can't even believe how many people that are big into the public stage, they're on the stage very largely, how they blatantly steal from people constantly, and nobody knows. How many cell phones do you think these guys have set up to make it look like they have a lot of fans on social media? There's no way that many people can like some of the things they're saying. I don't buy it. It doesn't add up to me. And the fact that they steal from small creators is ridiculous.
Kennedy fucking hates you. The Zionists hate you because they think they're better, and they think they're so smart they can steal our material and wrap it up. That's hatred.
I received it through meditation. So most of the stuff, I receive it through meditation. It's directly channeled into my brain. I come and I share it with the public because it's given to me to share. And then when it's stolen, they don't even give it justice. They don't understand the entire background that needs to be explained, or why it came down to our consciousness in the first place.
Someone just put, someone's calling me Mohammed Shiva because I am exposing Kennedy and attacking Zionism. This is a fucking idiot, okay? This is what I call a fucking idiot, okay? And I think we should discuss fucking idiots too. It's very important to discuss fucking idiots because, Michelle, they're trying to create a dialectic. Because I oppose Zionism, therefore I must be pro-Islam. You see this fucking idiot? And it's creating that dialectic that is used to manipulate people. Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism, idiot.
There are rabbis all over the world right now speaking the same truth,
against
saying
Zionism.
that Zionism is not Judaism. It has to be people of that hive mind. And
Shiva for the caliphate. You see that?
Trying to talk to people who are in a hive is next to impossible from my experience.
So we live in this very interesting world where I think what's happening, Michelle, this is a huge opportunity we have because I see it happening. Every Thursdays we have an event, right? And the event is very cool because, as I mentioned to you, Thursdays are normally a very long day. We do an open house. So we do 11 AM EST, and at 8 p.m. people can go to vashiva.com/orientation. And what we do is we take a topic like we're doing here, but a lot of extraordinary people show up. The other is I encourage everyone to go to Dr. Shiva for President, download that flyer, print it out. It's really an educational flyer. And then go to truthfreedomhealth.com and become a warrior scholar. There's no excuse people have anymore. They don't have to lower their standards. They don't have to say, well, he had to do this, he had to do that. I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils. And that's the opportunity, people.
I like it. Building from the ground up. Dr. Shiva, thank you so much. I've enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for everybody out there who's watching, commenting, following along, and getting involved.
So everyone join us on Thursday. And remember, this is, as Michelle just said, this is an opportunity for you to get involved, take action.
Yeah, a lot of people feel helpless. There's no need to feel helpless and hopeless when you're given an opportunity to get involved.
Yep. Hold on, Michelle. All right, everyone. Thank you. Be well, be the light, and let's win this fight. Thank you.